Imagine discovering an entirely hidden universe, a world so tiny that billions of living structures exist inside your body right now, working every second to keep you alive. What if I told you that before the 1600s, nobody even knew cells existed? No one knew that plants, animals, and even humans were made of microscopic building blocks. Then one man looked through a primitive microscope and changed science forever. His name was Robert Hooke. What he discovered launched one of the most important ideas in biology, the cell theory, the idea that every living organism on Earth is built from cells. But why are cells considered the fundamental unit of life? And how did one observation of cork under a microscope completely transform medicine, biology, and modern science? Today, we'll explore the incredible history of cell theory, the scientists behind it, and why your entire existence depends on these microscopic structures. By the end of this video, you'll never look at life the same way again. Welcome back to BioVision Learning, where biology becomes simple, fascinating, and unforgettable. If you enjoy educational videos about biology, science, and the mysteries of life, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now, let's travel back nearly 400 years. To the moment science discovered the cell. WHAT is a cell. Before we understand cell theory, we first need to answer one question: what exactly is a cell? A cell is the smallest structure capable of performing all the functions necessary for life. Every living thing, plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, and humans, is made of cells. Some organisms consist of just one cell. Others, like humans, contain trillions. Cells can produce energy, waste, grow, reproduce, respond to the environment, maintain internal balance. In other words, a cell is like a tiny living factory. Even though cells are microscopic, they are incredibly complex. Inside each cell are specialized structures called organelles. For example, the nucleus stores DNA, mitochondria produce energy, ribosomes make proteins, the cell membrane controls what enters and leaves. Every second, millions of chemical reactions occur inside your cells. Without cells, life could not exist. That is why scientists call the cell the fundamental unit of life. The world before cells were discovered. Today, we learn about cells in school, but for most of human history, nobody knew they existed. Why? Because cells are too small to see with the naked eye. Before microscopes were invented, scientists could only observe large, visible organisms. People believed living things were simple structures. The microscopic world remained completely hidden. Then, during the scientific revolution of the 1600s, everything changed. Scientists began creating tools that could magnify tiny objects. And one invention transformed biology forever: the microscope. Robert Hooke's discovery in 1665. English scientist Robert Hooke examined a thin slice of cork using a microscope. Cork comes from tree bark. When Hooke looked closely, he noticed tiny box-like compartments. They reminded him of small rooms used by monks in monasteries. So, he called them cells, derived from the Latin word cellula, meaning small room. This was the first recorded observation of cells in history. Hooke published his findings in a famous book called Micrographia. The book amazed Europe. For the first time, people saw drawings of microscopic structures invisible to the human eye. Hooke's work opened the door to an entirely new scientific universe. But there was one important limitation: the cork cells, he observed, were dead. He had not yet seen living cells. That discovery would come soon after. Antony van Leeuwenhoek in Living Cells. A Dutch scientist named Antony van Leeuwenhoek improved microscope technology dramatically. His handcrafted lenses were far more powerful than Hooke's. When he observed pond water, blood, and dental plaque, he discovered something astonishing: tiny living organisms moving everywhere. He called them animalcules. Today, we know them as microorganisms. Leeuwenhoek became the first person to observe bacteria, protozoa, sperm cells, blood cells. For the first time in history, humans realized that life existed on a microscopic level. This discovery revolutionized biology and medicine. Scientists now understood that an invisible living world surrounded us. The development of cell theory. Although cells had been discovered, scientists still didn't fully understand their importance. That changed in the 1800s. Two scientists played a major role: Matthias Schleiden, Theodor Schwann. Schleiden studied plants and concluded, all plants are made of cells. Schwann studied animals and concluded, all animals are made of cells. Together, their discoveries formed the foundation of the cell theory. First two principles stated, all living organisms are made of one or more cells. The cell is the basic unit of structure and function in living organisms. Later, another scientist named Rudolf Virchow added a third principle. All cells come from pre-existing cells. This idea was revolutionary. Before this, many people believed life could appear spontaneously from non-living matter. Virchow showed that cells reproduce by dividing. Life comes only from existing life. Together, these three principles became one of the most important theories in biology. Why the cell is the fundamental unit of life. But why exactly are cells considered the fundamental unit of life? Because cells perform every essential function needed for survival. Let's break it down. 1. Cells obtain energy. Cells convert nutrients into usable energy. In animal cells, mitochondria generate ATP, the energy currency of life. Without cellular energy production, organisms would die instantly. 2. Cells maintain homeostasis, regulate internal conditions such as temperature, water balance, pH levels. This keeps organisms stable and alive. 3. Cells carry genetic information. Inside cells contains instructions for growth, development, repair, reproduction. Your entire body blueprint exists inside your cells. 4. Cells reproduce, divide to create new cells. This allows growth, healing, tissue repair, reproduction. Even right now, millions of your cells are dividing. 5. Cells respond to the environment. Cells can react to light, chemicals, temperature, signals from other cells. This communication keeps organisms functioning properly. Because cells perform all these life processes, scientists recognize them as the smallest true units of life. Anything smaller than a cell cannot independently perform all life functions. How cell theory changed science forever. Cell theory transformed nearly every branch of science. Medicine doctors learned that diseases often begin at the cellular level. Understanding cells led to vaccines, antibiotics, cancer research, organ transplants. Modern medicine depends on cell biology. Genetic scientists discovered DNA inside cells. This opened the door to genetic engineering, gene therapy, biotechnology, microbiology. The discovery of microorganisms changed our understanding of infection and hygiene. It eventually helped scientists like Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch develop germ theory. In technology today, scientists use advanced microscopes powerful enough to see viruses and cellular organelles in incredible detail. Researchers can even edit genes using technologies like CRISPR because one scientist looked through a microscope centuries ago. Conclusion: the discovery of cells completely changed humanity's understanding of life. From Robert Hooke observing cork under a microscope to modern genetic engineering and cellular medicine, cell theory became the foundation of biology itself. Today we know every living organism is made of cells. Cells are the basic units of life, and every cell comes from another cell. Your body, your brain, your heartbeat, your thoughts, all depend on trillions of microscopic living cells working together every second. And it all began with one simple observation through a microscope. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with fellow biology students and comment below. What would happen if cells suddenly stopped dividing? See you in the next BioVision learning video.